All right, and hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the CEA Spring 2026 Finals, sponsored by Amazon Luna here for StarCraft 2. My name is Titan on Fire. You've seen me here before. I'm back, and I'm here joined by, I think, is this the first time you've been here?
Yeah, officially. When I did my undergrad and was playing in CEA, I would cast it for our own team sometimes, but no, this is my first time.
Well, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the viewers?
Yeah, I mean, a good chunk of them will recognize my name from all of the pesky announcements they get in our Discord, but I'm Cadel. I run CEA's StarCraft tournaments and a couple of other things that matter less than StarCraft tournaments. But I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. StarCraft is the best game that we run. I am not biased at all. And so I'm looking forward to a good day of games.
I mean, I think that the StarCraft 2 is at least, I think, the highest level gameplay that we get sometimes, because we got some great players who are in here. For everyone to see what teams are playing, well, it's going to be Michigan RTS facing off against Alexa 12 Pool. Alexa 12 Pool, I mean, if you've kept up at all with any of our tournaments, you know they're always at the top. This team has always done well, and they're here once again in the top two. Facing off against Michigan RTS. So it should be, I think, an absolute blast of a series.
I agree. I mean, both of these teams are fantastic, which is why they're here. I have, since I've been with CEA for so long, like I've played against many of these people. They're all better than me, like to a man. So it's always just fun to see them after an entire seasons of prep and work, finally get like some of the highest octane games. This is when you take out all of the crazy builds. This is when you're like, okay, I've been cooking this for months. Like there's no holding back anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll take a peek here at the rosters. Very different rosters, as you can see here. Michigan RTS just rocking with their captain and their three players in Jingming, Fish, and 2-5 Boy. And Alexa 12 Pool, a lot of names you've seen before. They got Jon Snow over there, who, I mean, he's been around for so long, and especially in the pro scene. And then they also got their captain 9K, who I personally know and played with back when I was playing in semi-professional tournaments, like 3 or 4 years ago. But overall, two stacked rosters with wonderful players, and it's going to gear up, I think, to be a very fun matchup, and we're hoping for a lot of creative build orders, because that's really, I think, where this format gets exciting, and we can actually talk about that as we go look at the map order here. So, Kato, why don't you run down the format? I mean, I'm sure most people know it, but for those that don't, how does this work? We have a best of 7 here with 2 teams of a bunch of players. What's this format look like?
Yep, and it's a little different this season than in past seasons. Previously, we required 4 players on a team. We dropped that to 3, and that changes how we run all of the maps. So the first 3 maps are predetermined. They have an opportunity to swap or to keep the default map, the A or the B map. The map swap for the first one was skipped, so we're sticking with 10,000 feet, which is a ladder map. We also use the Team Liquid map contests maps for a couple of those, but that's our first one. After our first 3, they have the opportunity to pick the next 3 maps. Depending upon who is in the lead at the time, they get to choose the first map, and then also if you're revealing players or maps first for those ace matches. And then the very final map, so map 7, if it comes to that one is predetermined.
Yeah, so you can see there, you'll have your other ladder map in Mothership up there. But the really interesting part is that those maps 4, 5, and 6, because that's where it gets a little bit spicy. You get the teams looking at this, and the team that's choosing, saying, hey, do we want to have this map revealed first and then choose our player? Do we want to just pick players? It's gonna be a lot of fun, and obviously we are at least gonna get one of those, even if it is a 4-0. So we don't have to worry about that. Yeah,
I hope we don't have that 4-0.
I know.
We want good games.
We want good games. But, I mean, yeah, it should be a really fun time. And I am excited to see the Team Liquid map contest maps again, because obviously you do get the, the tournament that's played on those in the votes. But sometimes those maps, even if they place really high in the map tournament, they don't necessarily actually get brought into the ladder, or they don't really get played as much, even though they have really cool designs. And so it's really fun to play on them because you do get this fact that you have players who are going to be bringing out maybe some special builds because, hey, you don't play this map on the ladder. I've been able to practice it, so why not pull out something that my opponent probably won't even be ready for?
Yeah, I really like the creative play on those other maps because some of them, while most of them are pretty standard, right? Some of them have some unique features that I hope we get to play around with.
All right. And it looks like we're going to be getting the lobbies up here, getting everyone on in so that we can hop into game number 1. As you guys saw there on that previous screen, the first map that we are going to have is going to be, I believe, Jay versus Fish. So we're going to get a nice ZVP to start off, which, I mean, is always one of those matchups that I think is a little testy in terms of what people's opinions on it, and what's strong and what is which race is better. Especially, you know, I still think you have those people who are like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to play against Sky Toss? They just ball up, they play late game, and they run at me. But I'm expecting that we're going to see some fun. I mean, obviously, we're playing on a ladder map here, so these players will have had plenty of time to practice different builds. You know, if Fish wants to, you know, play aggressive, you have some very fun Protoss cheese and aggressive builds that you can pull out. Zerg, obviously, I think has had less of those. You still have, like, you know, your Roach All-Ins, your Nidus Worms, but it is, I think, there's a little less variety, definitely, especially even with the recent patches and just how kind of the meta has moved and sorted itself out. Zerg just tends to be like, well, it's just kind of better if I play defensive and get more workers, because the risks associated, especially into, you know, like Protoss players, is just not quite worth it.
Yeah. Maybe this is biased, but I very much have a hope for Jay. I mean, not because I need Jay to win, but because I want Jay to go Mass Vipers. That is something that I've seen recently people doing. And it's hilarious. It's the only way that I've ever seen a Zerg trade efficiently against a Protoss in the late game. Which, I mean, everyone knows that pretty much never happens. Your idea behind all of Zerg is to just wear people down through sheer attrition.
Yeah. How does that work? Because I have not been keeping up as much. I've been watching the GSLs, you know, I've been watching like those things, but is it just that you throw down a ton of just the AoE like damage on their air units? Or
so not quite. Depending upon the opponent's comp, you run either just like pure Hydra with some Ling, or Ling Hydra, not Ravager, Spiky Burrowy boys. I know the name of them.
Lurkers, yes.
Lurkers, there we go. And then you build like 20 Evo chambers. So you're constantly just sucking them dry for more energy, and you're pulling everything into your composition. So it's usually like 12 to 15 Viper, which is crazy. But as long as you don't get caught out to some really good storms, I feel like you can just wear people down constantly.
It's like when you know, when we used to go like 20 ghosts as Terran back when they were 2 supply. You know, it turns out spellcasters are great and they're super efficient, so just build more of them.
Yep.
I mean, I think that would definitely be fun if we see that from Jay. And you know, I think Fish, I think I cast him actually in the last season's finals as well with Alexa 12 pool. I'll be honest, that finals was kind of crazy because it was a bunch of mirror matchups and just like super aggressive builds. So that has fallen out of my memory. That's gone. It's been enough months. So I that's kind of a blank slate for me in terms of what we're going to see from him. Obviously, I mean, you can just look at it and say, well, he's going to play regular Protoss, but I do remember that Alexa 12 pool was running some crazy, like, aggressive strategies with some of their players. Obviously, Jon Snow played, you know, standard Zerg because he's just that good. But I remember Fish actually had some very impressive play. Now that it's coming back to me. I remember him channeling it. Alexa 12 pool. Yeah, okay. But yeah, so we are waiting to get into the games. We have the players in the lobby. We're just taking a moment here to get ready. But as a reminder, everyone, as I said, this is sponsored by Amazon Luna, so thank you so much to them for providing support here. And obviously, all of the prize money here from this tournament does go to charity. So the way that these corporate championships work is that there's an $800 for StarCraft 2 prize pool that is split between the top 3 teams. Now, for a note, collegiate teams like Michigan RTS are allowed to register for free, which is obviously wonderful. They get to practice. They get to have these teams that get to play. So that means that their prize money goes to teams that actually paid that registration fee and were able to choose a charity that they wanted to go to. So that does mean Alexa 12 pool, they have already secured that $480 first place prize to go over to their charity of choice, which is GiveWell. But they're now playing for bragging rights, because it does kind of suck if you win first place prize but you still lose, because then Michigan RTS just says, guys, come on, what you doing?
And that has happened in the past. I think there's something special too about losing to a collegiate team. When I played on our collegiate team, we had like such a vendetta because we're poor. These guys are, you know, they have their lives together, presumably. Like,
they're brought on by this corporate team.
If we can be nothing else, yeah, if we can be nothing else, then we should be gamers that just invest our entire time into it. Like, we gotta win this. And I'm sure from the other direction, something similar is felt. It does sound like our players are getting ready. Jay does now have pants, so
that's very important to play well, I will say.
Yep.
You know,
I read that in our chat and I was quite surprised. Like,
listen, we've all tried to get up in the morning and just grind out some early morning ladder matches, and you forget to put on your pants and you're just in your briefs and you just don't play that well. It's like you're distracted. It's too airy down there or something. So good on Jay, making sure that he has what he needs to play well here on 10,000 feet. But we have the ready from one side, just waiting for the ready from Jay. And then we will get on going as, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much else to say. This is exciting. I think, obviously, Alexa 12 pool, you got to say, look at the players, probably favored. You know, they have a bunch of extremely skilled, very good players that they can just bring in on those ace maps if they want to close it out. But that also makes it exciting because it does mean that the teams that are playing against them do bring out some more creative builds and try and really throw a hitch in those plans. And I think that Michigan RTS actually coming in here as the 3-0 team from the bracket, they have definitely been doing their prep, and they are definitely going to be ready for this as we have the good lucks, have funds thrown out. We are waiting now for... Who's the host of the lobby? Who's starting it? Come on, guys. Come on.
I think Sparkle was, but we can always press it.
That's true. That's true. All right. As
they're just keeping us.
They're keeping
on our toes.
They're like, okay, vamp, go, vamp again. Really test you.
Exactly.
As now everyone is giving out the go goes.
Okay, I'm hearing Jay and Fish. I'm hitting the button.
Yeah,
if the players are ready, then the observers can catch up later.
It is time to get it underway, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the spring finals, and we will now be hopping into game number 1. Jay and Fish, Protoss versus Zerg on 10,000 feet. It feels good to be back.
Never been more excited for anything in my whole life.
I'm excited to cast StarCraft 2 again. It's been a while, and I miss it. It is a wonderful time. As now, let's get on into it. Ladies and gentlemen, in the bottom right-hand corner in the pink, he's going to be your Protoss player here. He is Fish.
And his opponent in the upper left, we have Jay. All right, we do have a very early scout coming out from Fish already.
do. Forward pylon going down. So far just looking like a standard setup for an early expand here for the Protoss. Nothing crazy. 10,000 feet is a map that is very safe. You do have these little minerals here that can be mined out for easy access to a nice and fairly safe third base. But to note as well, I think most people know, you also have these big creep tumors here that over the course of the game do actually lose life because they are classified as creep and there's no actual creep tumors near them. So these will slowly and eventually go away. So this map has some fun kind of interplay there. I think Zerg players especially actually do like this map because, hey, if you just expand your creep over here, then suddenly that wall doesn't go away. And you actually have free reign to have a very safe third base if you mine out these minerals, or even just leave them up and play for that expand later on. So we'll have to see what these players do as Fish here.
There's already been some action.
Yeah. Jay just going for the hatchery block, making sure that he can't go that gateway into Nexus. Has to get Cybernetics Core first. And, I mean, we'll see if Jay does the really fun thing, which is you cancel this immediately into the Evolution Chamber because of the creep that's left over. Always a fun way to just annoy the Protoss player a little bit more. Make sure you can catapult yourself into that lead.
I think this is an interesting response to having your natural blocked. When I saw the drone immediately move out, I assumed that he was just going to take the third. But going over to the other side, he forced, and he did in fact build the Evo's chamber, by the way. But forced, 4 probes to just stop working.
And he gets out?
Try to no way. I was like, okay.
He gets the scout though. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he does. Which will reveal for him, unfortunately, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the Nexus going down, so obviously no tech. But, hey, the drone stays alive. The Adept coming out should be able to finish it off. But
absolutely.
Still, yeah, a very nice early play there just to get a little bit of advantage. That's usually what you're going to see here from these Zerg players, as Jay has now been allowed to take his third hatchery and get up into his queens, and he's feeling pretty golden here, knowing that there's no crazy cheese coming out. He saw the Nexus timing, so he knows exactly kind of when this tech should be going. Oh, does he scout the Stargate too? Oh my god. Wait, this drone is actually getting so much value.
Yeah. If he clicks it, he doesn't have vision over here, so he may not have clicked it.
Well, yeah, Overlord here. We'll have to see as we...
But the Overlord, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, gets to see that is absolutely wonderful as 3 drones actually end up going down there. Pretty crazy. Was not expecting that from just one Adept. Looks like... Yeah, just Jay did not have his Zerglings in place, and so Fish is going to be happy to trade that off. It ends up being a positive resource trade. Although I don't think Jay is very much worried here as a Zerg. 3 drones, you can quickly get that number back up. But at the moment, Fish with those Chrono Boosts up in the worker count and will be immediately swapping into the Twilight Council. Just going to get an Oracle, sometimes 2 Oracles. You see that less so in the PvZ matchup. The 1 Oracle is enough to just try and get some damage, and then you throw down your stasis wards all around the map. But we might see, obviously, the Phoenix is also the other follow-up just to clear out those Overlords.
I'm looking forward to see what he does. There's already a Spore going up in the main for Jay, so he obviously knows what's happening. The Overlord spotted everything. But the Oracle's moving across the map, and we'll see if it manages to get more than 3 drone kills.
I don't know if you see what I see, but Forge coming down as well, so Fish gearing up here for a full ground transition. It's not going to be entertaining these sky toss dreams that infest the nightmares of Zergs. Instead, is just going to be going straight into, we'll see. I mean, probably will be charge. Oh, he's got to go for... Oh, I was literally about to say, you don't see the +1 blink as much anymore, but +1 blink is going to be coming out. A very, very fun timing attack that you can pull off here. And if it's not scouted, can actually get a lot of value. Because Zerglings, on their own, obviously, not the best against the Blink Stalkers if they're microed well. And even if you end up going for the Roach Warren, they still will struggle a little bit if you just don't have the preparations necessary. And at the current moment, no Baneling Nest. It is going to be those Roaches as the mid-game here for Jay.
One interesting thing to note is he is getting the melee +1 instead of the range +1.
Yep.
So I think that the Roaches will probably be more of a safety net than something to commit into, at least initially.
Yeah, it is kind of that. I have the lings, they do the damage, and if I need a big beefy body, here's my roaches that are going to do the work. As 3 hatcheries up and operational, 4th also coming up now. And Fish is, I mean, he's pretty happy right now. Has his 3 adepts here, just guarding the 3rd base. Again, this 3rd base expansion here for Protoss is pretty nice. Obviously, it can be attacked by 2 angles, but it ends up just being fairly defensible with the Sim City that you can put down. It's hard for Zerg to really find easy run-bys to pull your army apart, especially with the 4th base location just to the left there. And there is the influx of gateways coming down here from Fish, and I gotta say, I'm really, really excited for these Blink Stalkers, especially because that's a Spire coming down, which is a massive tech investment here for Jay. He does not have a lot of units outside of the 8 lings that he has on the map, but they do get in, and that is a huge scout.
That's pretty big. There will be Stalkers warped in the back to deal with this, but we'll see if they can pick something out. Jay has already lost 6 workers, so I'm sure he wants to get back a little bit. But he's at least getting a full scout of the base. He sees the 2nd forge coming down.
Yeah. So
some important scouting.
Yeah, knows what's going on. You see that many gateways, you see the research coming down, and you're like, okay, I kind of get the picture here, as that's going to be a lot more lings on the way. These 2 oracles have just been kind of hanging around. There were actually 3 kills they ended up just kind of swooping in and getting, as now they are going to be used for scouting, and the charge on the way as well, as these Stalkers will move out. But at the moment, doesn't look like Fish is actually going to end up committing here to a massive attack. Gets scouted out, says, okay, you know what's going on. You're probably going to be playing it safe. I'll just commit to these many Stalkers. I'll use my Revelations here to clear up creep, and I'll be pretty safe with my Blink Stalkers and the Oracles above.
Yeah, what I do think is interesting is Jay right now is floating some pretty hefty minerals and gas. I'm wondering if this is something that's deliberate, because the Spire did just finish, but instead of building Mutalisks, we're getting 44 more lings. Yeah. So I am a little curious as to what's going on here. He is adding on a macro hatch as well as a 5th base, so maybe that's his response to deal with that.
Yeah, +2 melee is here as well, so these lings will do a lot of damage as the +2 is coming on the way. And here we go, just trying to swarm on in. It is still a lot of Blink Stalkers here as Fish, though, it gets pounced on and blinks right into the flank, as the Oracle's now trying to back on up, but that is a huge surround coming through from Jay. And that influx of Zerglings working out pretty well here, as the Oracle's got to get out of dodge. It ends up being a very, very nice trade. Whenever you're trading Zerglings in any positive manner for a unit that costs gas, you are pretty happy. And now they're going to try and walk on up here, but charge lots will just kind of push them away.
It was a good attempt to blink up next to that pillar, so it reduces the amount of surface area for the Zerglings, but still wasn't quite enough.
Yeah. And now you got those Mutalisks. 9 of them on the way. Not the massive influx that you sometimes see when players goes up to 12. It's kind of the...
Yeah.
Oh, well.
And he just added on another 3. You are an Oracle.
Listen, guys, sometimes I still remember how to play this game, and I know the timings. So it will be the 12 mutas there with the +1 flyers. And, oh, those lings actually managed. Is that a full wall up, or they just get in through the 3rd base? But that's huge. This little run by is going to be able to knock down some of these building constructing gateways, as there's not even a cancel there from Fish, who is
exactly.
I'm starting to struggle a little bit here with just the ling harassment. The Zealots will do a good job cleaning it up, but it is just nice little bit of damage here and there from Jay, trying to get small little leads as he has this massive muta transition. And
the Zealots might see it, though.
Ooh,
yep, they do.
That is big. But
that's really lucky.
Right now, there are no Stalkers.
As long as he noticed it.
I
He's not
don't know
warping
if he
anything into the
did.
main. Yeah.
Oh my, yeah,
Okay,
Stalkers.
now it's coming, but he's actually choosing to focus the Stalkers instead of just go for the workers, which...
Yeah, I mean, they're going to get damage. I don't know if these many Stalkers will actually really help deal with these mutas. They don't have +1, but that's going to tick over here now. Just about 2 seconds. As 4 probes already going down, blink forward, trying to knock down a few, but I mean, it's still, I think, 12 mutas here just in the 3rd base.
This base is in trouble.
Oh my, this is so much damage as the bouncing glaives are going to absolutely shred through that. And the backside,
workers.
On the other side of the map, though, Zealot run by trying to come on in here with a few Archons trying to get damage across the map, but there's more Mutalisks now as we're up to 31 that Jay has now committed to, and that's going to be an easy cleanup across the map. The worker damage, actually.
Yeah, another
22
workers going down.
And that's almost all just from those Zealots in the natural base there.
Yep. Was too focused on the Archons at the front. Of course, cleared those up, but ended up losing quite a bit in the meantime. Worker counts are still in the favor of Jay, but only by 10 or so.
Yeah, and 10, honestly, Protoss is fairly happy with that situation. You're not too mad. You're down 10 is now this massive flux. 35 Mutalisks going into the main base, and there's still no cannons. And honestly, if I'm Jay here, I think I target down that +3 because that is looking very juicy, but instead just going for the Templar Archives, now going after the Forge. And he gets the +3. That is a huge denial, as these Stalkers will try and chase this down, but man, the Muta switch, it always hits extra hard. Especially when, you had the Blink Stalkers and then you switch out of them, as now the worker damage is starting to get a little bit excessive, into a point where you're going to start to worry if you are Fish. The Mutas, just going to fight straight up now. The Lings are here.
Yeah, the Lings are here to help.
The Oracles are going to fly in. They're not really doing that much, though, as all gateways going down. 25 workers. Blink forward, knocks down a few more of the Mutalisks, but at this point, it's a 5-base Zerg now. Jay has started to re-drone a little bit onto a few of his bases here, but denying the +3 is the really big thing there.
Yes, and a 70 supply difference in total right now. It's just feeling a little rough for Fish at the moment.
Second Forge goes down. Luckily that was not research anything. Got the +2 armor, but yet it still kind of hurts here if you are Fish.
And Zerglings are right now at the third, just eviscerating those poor drones. He's down to 30 workers.
Yeah, this is just looking like a very well played out Ling Muta.
Yep. And I'm even surprised I don't think we've seen a single Baneling so far this game.
No Banelings.
Like Mutaling Bang. No. You just need Muta and Ling.
Yeah, I think Fish here is realizing that, unfortunately, things are not quite working out. 62 workers going down. He has, 60 army supply, but that's now all Stalkers, and now there's massive Zerglings here, as Jay did just play out the timings well. He scouts out the Blink Stalkers, and Fish preemptively swaps out. He says, okay, I'm just going to go charge that Archon, and because he doesn't go for that Stalker pressure, that means that Jay is free to go for the Muta transition, and that's going to be the first game picked up here for Jay on the Zerg.
That was a well-played game. I enjoyed watching the decision-making because it felt like Jay was behind in the early game. Mm-hmm. But the Muta switch, the moment that happened, it was just kind of over. So yeah. I would love to hear, or at least theorycraft, as to how much their research into their opposition led to this decision-making process.
Yeah, I think it was just a really good read from Jay there. Like, you see, okay, my opponent wants to go for this Blink Stalker pressure, I scout it, and then he doesn't actually end up going for it, so it gives you free reign. You already have the Spire going down. He was probably already planning to go for some sort of Muta build, and that just means that he can say, hey, if you're already switching out of Stalkers, then you're not really going to be ready for this Muta switch when it ends up coming through, and plays it out well. The harassment was really good. There was moments there where you're looking at it, you say, oh, Fish getting some great damage. Unfortunately, though, it just was so far behind on those plays that he was never really quite able to recover.
I think that the interesting thing to me was that all of the damage that was done on the Zerg side of the map was through Zealots. Mm-hmm. We saw the one attempted move out with Blink Stalkers that got pinned up against that wall, and it didn't really accomplish that much. But the Zealot run buys were pretty effective, and I wonder how the game would have been a little different if we just had kind of skipped over the Blink Stalkers, because those struggle dealing with the Mutalisks on this map. I think the distance between the second and the fourth base, it's virtually impossible to blink through those. It's interesting. Yeah. I just wonder what would happen if we had like 2 Archons sitting at home when that first wave came through. What would have changed?
Yeah, it's It's definitely is one of those situations where, like, when you're coming into these games, you're like, oh, I have this plan, I had this build, and then you start to second guess it, where it's like, oh, it got scouted out though, so I probably shouldn't commit to it because he's going to be ready for it. And then the game plan kind of falls off the rails there because you're like, well, I didn't do the thing I was planning to do, and now I'm heading into this mid game and I'm not set up to like scout. My tech is kind of actually, I mean, it was in a decent spot, but he didn't have anything to really deal effectively with the mutas. As you said, like, it's very hard for Blink Stalkers to efficiently deal with Mutalisk harass. And unfortunately, when you're also just have not been making Stalkers, when those first mutas show up, that's kind of the death knell. It's like, oh, you had no Stalkers when the first 12 come across the map. Not much you can do because you're just playing catch-up from that point. But it means we're going to be going on to map 2 now with Alexa 12 Pool up 1-0. A very solid game there from Jay. I think what you come to expect from this Alexa 12 Pool team is, hey, they got some great players, great execution on these builds, and play it out very, very confidently. And so now we're going to see how Michigan RTS does as we have Xingming on the Protoss versus 9K, who's playing random, actually.
Yeah, I love random players. They're so, not, I don't want to say toxic, but chaotic. Because, of course, the biggest advantage you have to playing a random... Oh, well, we will introduce the players, and then I'll get into my rant later.
As in the top right-hand corner, playing in the purple, as these players love to keep up their interesting color choices from Alexa 12 Pool, playing Terran. It is 9K.
And his opponent with Michigan RTS, Xingming, in the bottom left.
And I'm going to note here, according to the random code of honor, 9K is already very, very... He's a heretic. He did not tell his race. He is now going to be proxy raxing as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say at the beginning. Your biggest advantage as a random player is that the other person doesn't know what you're going to do. Because you don't know what you're going to do until the game finishes loading. And as soon as they find out what race you are, and Xingming is about to do that, he scouts up the ramp, sees that there's no barracks, he knows what's going on immediately. Yeah. Your job is to take advantage of the lack of information that your opponent has. And sometimes that's a pump fake into a proxy. You know, you got options, but this is a double proxy barracks. Also on double gas.
Yeah, so looking like either concussive shell or, I mean, I'd imagine it's going to be the concussive shell version. Yep, there's the tech lab coming down. And unfortunately for Xingming, he went for the forward wall in case it was Zerg or Protoss. He had a 2 out of 3 chance there of this forward wall being totally fine and not affecting the game. And unfortunately, he rolled the 1 out of 3, where now there's going to be concussive shell marauders, and all of your tech buildings are in the open.
But he's still confident. He dropped that second base, even though he knows he's getting proxied.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, shield batteries can really turn any fight into your favor, but
yeah, I mean, Adept's coming out here first, though. Does he know? I'm getting a little worried here. Okay, first shield
I think
battery
he's worried
down.
about Reapers.
Yeah, it looks like he's thinking this might be Reapers. The gas has not been pulled off of. The Marauders are in production now, and a second tech lab there as well. So, yeah, it's going to be 2 Marauders with a bunker going down. You have a Zealot and an Adept. They can kill the SCV. That's the good part here. And
yes.
he's actually chrono boosting the warp gate, which is not what you like to see.
That's really
here.
brave.
Yeah, that is very optimistic, as that first SCV is actually going to go down in great focus fire from Xingming.
Second SCV barely survived.
Yeah, good pullback from 9K, but now is in an awkward situation where he can't really move that forward. Luckily, these Marauders can just hit from range now. Argonauts going to try and harass as they can, but the shield battery is doing some work. And I think putting that bunker so far forward actually might have just killed this pressure here for 9K, because that's such an aggressive bunker, and then your SCVs just die.
Yeah, the Adept, I think, was initially something that scared me, but he is effectively squashed the ability for them to make bunkers. Like, this 7 HP SCV is not coming back anywhere near these units, but that Stalker does get taken down.
Yeah, Good snipe. I mean, the Marauder count is increasing here, so this is where it starts to get dangerous. As the shield battery energy is now running out. Focus fire onto the second Stalker, but it walks away. Actually manages to get on out there, and we'll get his shield regenerated. As there's the Zealot coming down. The Warp Gate is done, but again, not exactly going to be the...
Well, he's pulling workers right now.
Yep, it is the call you need to make here. This is still one base, so probes are now going to come out, but into the Concussive Shell Marauders, they are able to kite back. Stib about halfway done. You're just waiting on that as these shield batteries doing their best. There is...
Might lose the Cybernetics core.
Oh, no. Battery overcharge not available. Cybernetics core going to go down. One Stalker warped in before that. Is there still only... Okay, there's 2 warp gates. There's one in the main as well, as finally a few of these Marauders going to go down. And with actually 4 of the Marauders falling, SCV is going to try and come forward again to maybe build another bunker, but again, that can just be focused down.
Immediately killed.
And yeah, again, I think it's close here. You're starting to get killed, but I just think that losing that SCV so early, as a Terra player, putting that bunker so far forward makes this so much more difficult now for 9K here. His micro has to be on point here if he wants to try and win this game. This warp gate going down would be big.
And he is getting stim as of right now. So this next engagement will potentially be very good for him.
Just waiting for Xingming to step too far forward here so he can stim forward, focus down the Stalkers, and then kite out the Zealots and the Adepts. And there's, I mean, there is no CC because those are actually workers that are coming across the map.
This is a very all-in. And there's a fair amount of energy on these shield batteries.
Yeah, they've been allowed to recharge. As here we go, SCV's going in, stim forward. He's going to go for...
Okay.
It's the Artosis Pylon! Oh, no! Oh, that is absolutely brutal. I mean, we'll see. He's going to retreat.
The force fields were pretty decent, and he's going to go up the ramp.
Retreats up to the ramp. Obviously, there is no healing here for these Marauders. But, oh, my. The one
Warp gate's
pylon.
just finished, and more Stalkers are coming in. Great force field.
Beautifully done. These sentries absolutely pulling their weight. I mean, as 9K here, you got to go for the killing blow. You pulled all your workers. There's no income. Doesn't matter if you get that as... Uh-oh, force field is off here. 9K can just try and stim on in. He's going to focus down the sentries. I don't think that's the right call, though.
Ooh, I don't think it's enough. Yeah.
Are going to shred through. GG. Xingming holds the unscouted cheese. And 9K will not be able to pick up the second win. That's going to be tied up 1-1 here. And man, we are getting some fun games.
I think Xingming's response was really measured. It's so easy to overreact when, like, crap hits the fan. But just calmly placed down the second base, knew that if this was an all-in, that as long as he's a little ahead on the workers, then he can just outproduce them. And that's exactly what he did. At the end, even though his army was a little smaller, he was able to keep warping things in. He got the warp gates back in the main base. He just had the resources to deal with it.
Yeah, very, very well played. And I think 9K is going to be kicking himself, though, for that initial bunker placement, because when you're doing this proxy Marauder, I played a lot of Terran. I played against 9K as Terran. That first bunker is so important if you get that down, and the fact that he was really greedy and put it right next to the gateway there, it just makes your life so much harder when those SCVs go down. Like, it's definitely rough, but again, Xingming did, from that point, Xingming, I think, played it out about as well as he can, was very good about not pushing too far forward into the Marauders, and had enough units there at the end that even with the SCV pull, the force fields were able to delay it and was able to pull out the win. We're tied up 1-1, which means, ladies and gentlemen, we do not have a sweep on our hands, which is the best news that we could have gotten.
Yes, it is.
And that also means that we're now going on to our second Team Liquid map contest map here in the Grid.
A little bit of smack talk between the two teams as well, which is something that we expect and like to see.
Yeah, no, you love to see it. I mean, I appreciate it when these teams are willing to kind of throw a little bit of lip back and forth at each other.
They've been playing with each other for so long. Yeah.
Saying Xingming got lucky, although, again, I'm going to say 9K. I'm disappointed, man. And I know you, so I can say that.
I think that if that bunker had been like another couple units back, still in range of the cybernetics core, just something to anchor around,
Yeah.
when you're dealing with, and just having something to eat the damage for your Marauders, which very much do not regenerate health.
Yeah.
That was just unfortunate. It was very optimistic, but didn't quite work out for him.
Yep, didn't quite. So we're going to be heading on to the grid. We're going to have the team captain coming out here for Michigan RTS, Sparkle Hands, coming in here as the Terran, up against Sigil on the Zerg. And the grid I have played on before. This is a very fun map, especially for TVZ, because there's a lot of drop spots. This is a map that has its 2 spawns on the top left and top right. There's so much fun that can happen here with how aggressive you want to be. So I'm very excited to see what we see here from our player, who is in the top left hand corner. Ladies and gentlemen, the team captain here from Michigan RTS, he is Sparkle Hands.
And his opponent in the upper right, rockin' purple, that looks so good on Zerg, is Sigil.
The grid is, I think, personally one of my favorite maps from this Team Liquid map contest. As a Terran, it's great. You have so many fun drop points that you can use, especially on the third base here with the dead airspace. And great tank positions as well. If you're a mech player, a degenerate mech player, I might say, then you have great tank spots. It's a very, very fun map. So we'll see how Sparkle Hands wants to play this out. I think usually you would expect to, in a map like this, expect to see if someone wants to go late game just to go for the mech, because you have so much high ground to play around with. You have just kind of really good map geometry that lends itself to being pretty good for defensive playstyles.
I think in the beginning with Cyclones, like normally you feel a little bit squashed if you're trying to defend like your natural. But the natural actually has quite a bit of space in between it and the third to kite in with those Cyclones. So I think that mech is definitely viable. So far, the interesting thing in my mind is that Sigil did opt to go for Pool Extractor before expansion.
Yeah, so ended up going, I believe it was a 14-14 into the 17 hatch. So a pretty standard, just earlier pool here is going to get you an earlier speed. The things to note there, you get your creep started faster. You're going to have your first queen out here a little earlier. She can pop down a creep tumor in the main base, which does mean that the Reaper, if it gets a little too aggressive there, if it gets a little too confident, can actually be surrounded and trapped by the Zerglings up in the main base if he goes for that creep tumor first. But overall lends itself to just having a stronger defense if your opponent did go for anything a little crazy. So I don't mind it from Sigil, playing it out, saying, hey, I'm going to be a little safer. I saw what just happened. And that was my teammate, but I still saw what just happened, so I want to play it safe.
You got to prepare for everything. And the Queen's already out as soon as this Reaper shows up, and it just seems really unlikely that we're going to see a lot of damage come out of it.
As looks like just a fairly standard build here. Nothing crazy. Rats in the factory. Where we're going to probably start to see this build shape as... Okay, that Marine. He was slacking on the job, man. What's he doing over there?
He was just watching them beat at that poor reactor.
He was like, hey, the tech's not my job.
Oh, triple CC before Starport.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, where we're going to see the build really shape up is after this command center finishes up.
Oh, it catches the Reaper out, yeah.
Sparkle Hand's not able to focus down that low health Zergling. But the exciting part here is now going to be this third CC. As I said, this is a very safe map. This high ground that you have in these first 3 bases, very easy to defend with tanks. And so both players are just going for macro builds, which means while these first 2 games were a little aggressive, we had a little bit of action. Now we're going to start to see what these teams can do in a late game, or at least a mid-game setup. We'll see if they opt to continue with the greed on both sides. But overall, just fairly standard. We're going to see this poke now with the Hellions. And as for Sigil, just has this third hatch going up. Has not really opted to go into one tech path or the other. We'll see if he opts for Roaches, if he decides to go for the Ling Bane. On a map like this, I actually don't mind the Roaches as much, but obviously Ling Bane, I think, is just the standard.
The Baneling Nest did just get dropped.
Yeah, that's I think that's what most Zerg players are comfortable on when you're defending. It's like, I have so many fast things that run around and blow up. This is great.
As a Zerg player, I feel attacked, but also seen.
I mean, it's like you play roaches and you're like, you know, in your head, the roaches sound so good all the time. You're like, oh, I'm going to be like Dark. I'm going to defend with the roaches and I'm going to get such good trades. And then you play them and you're like, wow, I am
never like Dark.
I'm not reading my opponent well enough to position these in the right spot. As it looks like we are potentially going to be setting up here for a mech transition for Sparkle Hands with the fast 3CC. That's going to be Cloaked Banshees and the tanks immediately starting production. I would be very surprised if this is still bio. I mean, I think any person who goes fast 3CZ is going to be happy to just go into mech. You have the economy to then get out your expensive units and tech, and hey, you're going to be trading better. So, you know, I guess...
We did just see 2 Barris get dropped, so the Oracle can only be right so often.
Sparkle Hands, I think he heard me and he was like, I'm going to prove you wrong.
They're all listening to the stream, cheating off of each other, I'm sure. They better not be.
I mean,
no, I'm not worried about it.
You know, I respect it though. I obviously I'm a big. I love playing bio. I could never really get into mech, even though I know it's really good. But
yeah, I'm in the same boat. Whenever I play Terran, it just feels so natural to stim into people.
Right? It's like, come on, guys. This is not Brood War. We don't need to go mech in every matchup. So let's have some fun. But yeah, so it's going to be an early +1/+1. Nice and quick on the tech here for Sparkle Hands, which again, he can just afford to do because you go the fast 3 command centers. You see your opponent is also playing greedy. And so you're not really worried about pressure here. You have just now the upgrades starting to come through. Baneling speed on the way. Level 1 plating here for the Zerg as well as the attack upgrades. It's just, I mean... There's only so much I can say to explain that this is the most standard of standard games without sounding redundant.
Yeah. One thing that I do always feel is slightly scary as Zerg is after you get Lair, that's like when you have to commit into one path or another. We're getting the +1/+1. We're getting a macro hatch. But it's +1 melee, and there's no Spire.
Yeah, and my other worry is these... Cloak Banshees have not moved across the map yet. There's a Spore Crawler, but other than that, you just have the Queens to shoot up. Right now, you're staying at only actually 5 Queens for Sigil, which is a little bit low. You're usually, at this point in the game with 4 hatcheries and the macro hatch, looking at around 7 to 9 is like the safety number of like these can kind of, they can fight back anything. My Queens, they're strong, they're independent. 9 of them can defend most things that the Terran throws at me. It doesn't have that. But luckily for him, Sparkle Hands, I think, has forgotten about his Banshees. So
yeah,
they're just sitting here.
I feel kind of bad. They had a chance to win Honor and the Glory of Battle, and instead they're monitoring a Vespene Geyser.
You know, they're using up a lot of the fuel there, spending a lot of the Imperium's money. Manx will not be very happy, but they finally
he will not.
remember that they can move around. And they get immediately spotted out by these Banelings, but that is actually nice because they can start to try and... Oh, never mind.
They take one.
Yep. They decide, no, we don't need to get rid of those morphing Banelings. As the tank setup is already looking pretty impressive here for Sparkle Hands. 4CC on the way. 4 tanks already in the map as the Banshees are now going in. And despite being scouted, no Queens here to respond. And again, I mean, up to 7 Queens now, but already going to get 4.
One Queen actually... Oh, that was close. Yeah, moved the Queen on the main hatchery over to the left when he planted that Spore Crawler, but didn't finish in time to give vision, unfortunately.
Banelings are sitting here waiting for a run by, but they might just get scouted out actually by the Terran army, as Hellbats are also here with that armory finished. This is a strong
he's moving across the map.
Out. As yeah, Sparkle Hands has a very strong push here. 5 tanks, 37 Marines, and these 6 Hellbats to tank up some damage. Hydralisks are on the map here, but there's only 6 of them.
Not many, yeah.
20 Banelings.
34 Lings being produced. I think he's just going to give up this base, maybe try for a wraparound on the tanks.
I don't think there's much else he can really do, as you also have these Banshees just continuing to wreak havoc here.
And most importantly, they have eyes on where the Zerglings are.
4th hatch going down is, I think, or 5th hatch there. going to feel pretty good for the Terran. He will just back up. He has his Force
just
CC
goes
on the way, and he's going to get actually chased down here. The Hellbats will trade decently well, but the Banelings roll on in. And a nice collapse there. Now is actually going to try and fight this, but I don't think you wanted the tanks are in siege.
Yeah,
and a late siege means that they're actually going to get 1 or 2 good volleys, but they get cleaned up as well. Oh, Sparkle Hands. Yeah.
I would have loved to see a pickup of the tanks, because I think that was the portion of the army that you really need to stay alive. But it's not like the army supply for sigils enough to go end this. It's just a very uneven trade. Currently, in units lost, the Terran is still beating out in efficiency, but not by a ton.
Yeah.
At least not anything that we wouldn't expect in his EVT.
Yeah, I think just the tank count going down there does feel rough. Only 2 siege tanks on the map now. A situation where for Sparkle Hands, probably should just evac them, as you said. Like, there's not really a chance you get to fight that while retreating, and now this command center's got to lift off, and that 4th base is going to be denied, but these Hydralisks are going to get dived on. Fortunately, these Banelings
That was really unfortunate.
Ooh,
the Hydras got caught out at all.
The move command gets us all, as he does lose quite a few Banelings there. Is now running
He's
into
going
a
back
tank.
in.
I mean,
that worked out.
Yeah, he had a run by going in at the 3rd base at the same time. Gets 14 SCVs there.
Yeah.
Does lose a lot of army. I mean, you're fine with it. It's Zerglings. That's not obviously the worst thing in the world to lose.
That's about 50 Zerglings.
Yeah, it's still a lot of Zerglings. I think, though, for Sigil, the worrying thing now is +3/+3 on the way here for this bio. Sparkle Hands has been on top of these upgrades, and now this bio is going to start to trade a lot better. That upgrade parity is so important when you're playing Ling Bane into bio, and the fact that you're now this far behind is going to feel really bad in these extended trades.
Yeah, and to note too, the lack of ranged attacks for the Zerg as well is troubling.
Big explosion there onto a group of Marine. Sparkle Hands not ready, is now retreating into a tank. He's going to be able to just kite back, and you start to see... I mean,
good spread for the second wave.
Yeah, with the +2/+2 and the spread back. This bio is starting to trade very, very well. There is a large amount of Banelings, though, up by this 4th base here that are going to look to try and roll in and get another big crash on these workers. But Sparkle Hands is pushing forward. I am surprised we do not have a Lurker Den yet, but that Hive only just now finished up. It is still just this Ling Bane Hydra. As Fusion Core
I feel like those Hydras haven't really been able to show their worth. I mean, they're clearing up some medevacs now, so perhaps I spoke too soon.
Yeah,
but
well, I mean, it still ends up not being the best trade there. The Banelings roll in, they end up dying. The only 5 SCVs for that huge wave of Banelings means that Sparkle Hands is going to be very happy with how that trade ends up going. He's just going to repair up his things, and he did build a Fusion Core in the back of that. Has the Ghost Academy done as well, so can obviously go into the Ghost if he needs to. And with the Ultralisk Cavern coming down, I think Sparkle Hands is going to be pretty happy with his position. I mean, he has the Ghosts ready when he needs them. These Ultras are going to come through. They will have their +3 plating, but I don't think any +3 attack done just yet. So we're still on just that +2, which I think actually Sigil might have overlooked that, because I don't see a reason why he wouldn't be getting that upgrade. Yeah, starts it up now.
those are really important, just so that stimmed Marines don't eat everything alive.
Yeah, I mean, this 3/3 timing, though, is going to be pretty deadly here. Going to be finishing up now in about 15 seconds with the +2 for the tanks is also massive, because that tank splash starts to really stack up. Also has the Caduceus reactor here for the additional healing on the medevacs. I mean, Sparkle Hands, as long as he doesn't get caught out, has an extremely strong push, but Sigil is going to try and hit him at the map. Does not actually want to commit on in. The tanks siege up now, and this actually becomes a little bit harder for the Zerg to fight.
But the Zerglings are going around the back.
Yeah.
They're even going to just ignore the army. They're going straight for the 3rd.
Yep, they're just trying to go in. There's a planetary fortress here and a siege tank already set up, though, so they get the planetary, which is nice, but now they're going to get caught out by the rest of the army. Great split back from the Baneling. Means that trade goes well, and on the other side, the Hydras try and go in on their own, but unfortunately, Hydras into +2 tanks is not a very pretty trade.
Yeah, it's rough. We do have 4 Ultralisks coming out now, so those will be the first Ultralisks we see. See if it gives the Ling Bane enough time to actually reach the tanks. One thing I think is interesting is Sigil has just decided not to expand northward at all, and instead took 2 bases along the bottom, which Sparkle Hands is perhaps blissfully unaware of, the fact that his opponent owns so much of the map.
Yeah, I mean, if Sigil can get away with getting these bases up, then it's going to be absolutely massive. Because right now, he's a little bit
the
behind.
collapse.
Oh,
He
here we
pulled back the
go! Two-side attack trying to go on in. The Ghosts do not have time to get off their snipes as the Ultralists are just shredding through. The tanks have already gone down. The Marauders now standing and fighting as that first Ultra is going to fall. The level 3 armor is not done just yet, which means that actually Sparkle Hand somehow gets the better end of that trade.
Even though he lost all of his tanks so quickly, but
and also,
the stimming is doing just as much damage as the Ultras are.
Yeah, I mean, the Chitinous Plating was trying to, but without the +3, you just see how well that bio trades. Sparkle Hands gets a wonderful trade. Now, all of Sigil's money going into trying to get his army back up. Not even a remax, actually. Just 2 more Ultralisks, a bunch of Ling Bane. Tanks are back here, and oh, the Morphing Banelings. Absolutely massive that he gets on top of those, but is not able to actually kill them as the flank comes around here from the Zerglings, but it's not quite enough. They're just running to their death. Oh, Sigil. The move command hurts to see.
Yeah, that was rough. He did prevent another base being taken for Sparkle Hands. One thing that's interesting, despite the base lead for Sigil, income is pretty much the same. He's making about 400 more minerals a minute.
Mules are a crazy drug, man.
They really are. But he's gonna need something to fuel the Spire units, because he did just add on a Spire.
Yeah, has Infestors coming around, but does not have the pathogen glands. So those are going to be coming out with a little bit less energy than they normally would. As the Ultras, now up to 6 once these 2 pop, are going to be able to tank it up, but the ghost count is only at 4. Not too much just yet. Actually, building armor has been researched, which means that these command centers are able to pick up SCVs now, which is just not something that you see very often.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea. If you're relying on static defenses to keep your base safe, and that does seem to be the case,
Run by coming
that little bit goes a long way.
Yeah, should be able to finally crash
Decent
in.
connections, yeah.
As, I mean, Planetary goes down.
Oh,
on
we
the
lost the
other side of
Baneling
map.
Nest.
Yeah, Sigil is just going in. A
Great fungal, though.
I mean, the tanks are going to still be able to set up, though. Another fungal goes down. This one also hits so much of the army as the Medivacs are absolutely trying their best. Their Ghosts are not able to get off the snipes just yet. Transfusions onto the Ultralist, but it's not enough, as now, again, no pathogen glands. There's no energy on those Infestors. EMPs onto the Queens means no more transfusions for the rest of these Ultras as they come on in. And I think Sparkle Hands might be able to pull it out. Needs to micro back. The last 2 Ultralisks are here, and he's trying to stutter step back. Gets one, almost gets the second, but it's going to be pulled away. And it's a monstrous trade here for Sparkle Hands. He loses the Planetary Fortress, but now holds the ramp and just gets rid of so much army.
I think we're losing spawning pool here, possibly even more. The Ultralisk Cavern is near the back, so it stays alive, but
Oh my gosh.
that was rough tech-wise.
And 12 health on that Medivac as it gets on out. Sparkle Hands is going to be very happy with that trade. He's down to 44 workers, which is obviously a little bit rough, but he has mules available. Has actually another command center that is also available to be flown over to another base spot. And Sigil, despite taking these two bottom bases, has only got one of them mining with 11 drones. He has not been able to really get his economy, I think, to the point that he wants it to be. But with the SCV damage, and now redroning up after that attack, mules are evening it out, but it was about 1,000 mineral income to 2,500.
Yeah, and it's only going to get harder for Sparkle Hands. He's had a really rough time trying to secure that 5th base. And I think for good reason. Sigil's just been on top of it constantly. As he's getting mined out in every other base, like, he has a base and a half, and we're being generous here.
Yeah.
Because that base just now lost a mineral patch.
And there's a
So
lovely,
he is on a bit of a timer to either expand or get some significant damage.
And there's a lovely burrowed Zergling there just to stop that 5th as well. There's no tanks is the big thing to note here. Obviously, the tanks against the Zerg, just the mass Zergling would be nice. Uh-oh, here we go, Infestors, find
Okay,
two.
first fungal.
not the best, and the EMPs do go wide. You need these ghosts to actually be pushing forward at the front so that you can EMP as the infestors walk up, but I don't think that Sparkle Hands has them on a separate hotkey at the current moment. But still, is just going to back on up. Doesn't want to risk losing the army with his economy being in such a precarious position.
I think if you step onto creep and get fungled, the game just kind of ends.
Still hasn't scanned the circling. This is so annoying.
Yeah, that's like the most frustrating thing.
Yeah,
You have to commit so much for something that's like 25 minerals stuck on the ground.
Oh, and here we go, Sigil. Massing. I mean, the crazy part is actually does not have any banelings with this army. I think if there was maybe 20 or so
He didn't
banelings,
rebuild the baneling nests. He lost the spawning pool, so he couldn't.
He did probably realize that just a little bit sooner than us, as that's finally going to be finishing up, but now just running on in. Gets a tank and a ghost. Is not going to want to fight,
I think
though.
he does just want to play this nice and slow. Like, he knows he's got the map in a stranglehold. There's no need to suicide your army in.
Yeah,
and, like, you can lose some Zerglings.
Oh, it actually might go for the wraparound here. Great fungal onto all
That's
of the
a crazy
medevacs, but it's a huge choke point that he's running into. The fungal growth doing so much damage, but it just doesn't matter. He just walked up the choke point.
Yeah, and I hope for his sake that some of these infestors make it home, but something tells me that's a pipe dream.
That is, I mean, that's just brutal when...
One made it to creep and stopped walking. Tragic.
When every single one of your Ultilis with their terrible AI pathing is trying to go up a ramp, but now low health on this bio, trying to push in, but it's just Zerglings and Sparkle Hands. He's just going to try and make it happen here. 6 Ultilis are getting popped, but they are not ready just yet. This space is going to go down. That's okay. Sigil is not worried about these hatcheries. They have no minerals on them. But here we go. Ultra's now coming in. Sigil has to back up. Good baneling hit onto a big chunk of his army, and they are so low on health as these
he's
medevacs.
losing every medevac.
Oh, no. No medevacs. Means that he
there's
just gotta
2
run
back
away.
at base, but...
I mean, I think you just got to try and cut this out and get as much damage as you can. He will manage to get back to, I mean, a base that doesn't really have that much left, actually. I think a Ling run by there did a ton of damage. Just 59 SCVs have gone down over the course of this game.
And his 5th base right now is oversaturated. Just trying to get as much out of that one mining base as possible. I guess 1 1/4.
It is a rough situation. I mean, it looked like for a second there, Sparkle Hands might have been able to pull it out. But, as you said, all of the medevacs going down.
Yeah. Those corruptors getting added on instead of the hydras, I think, was really good.
Yeah, just those 5 corruptors sitting here in the sky, knocking out the important units, and with no healing, that bio, unfortunately, is not able to trade as well. As this gold base is going to get taken. I mean, if he can mule hammer this gold base, that would be a massive influx of income. But his 5th base is going to get attacked once again into the mineral line. And unfortunately, that planetary is just going to go down. And I mean, he's trying to push on the other end, but I think Sigil just has a big enough army now that it's very hard to fight it. A small flank. Oh, yeah. There we go. As he's running on in, the banelings trying their best to get on top of this army. The healing trying to come through from these medevacs. It's good stutter step, but I just don't think it's enough as more and more Zerglings come in.
I think that might be it.
Sparkle Hands tried his best, but Sigil cleans up the army, and he's going to get the 2nd win here for Alexa 12 pool.
That was very much a case of I don't have to trade efficiently if I am making 1,000 more minerals and 1,000 more gas per minute more than you.
Yeah, he had a lot of stuff. I mean, that was a great game, though, from both players.
That was really good to watch. I would have loved to see a couple of drops from Sparkle Hands, especially across the bottom. But overall, like, his engagements were really, really strong. They fought in the right place. He cleared creep consistently, but never overcommitted on creep. It was well played by both of them.
Very, very well done. I mean, I'm glad that we are getting such good games. Like, that makes me very, very happy. So I'm very, very excited. We now have Alexa 12 pool setting up 2-1. As with all the things I'm doing, I have to remember to update the scores. But it has been a very good series so far. We've seen Cheese, we've now seen the macro, and now that means we're also heading into the ace matches.
Exactly. So at this point, Alexa has the opportunity to choose how they're going to proceed, because they're in the lead. Oh, they're even asking, so I'll explain it to them too in the meantime.
And I will transition this over, to once again, to our little map order here so you guys can see what exactly we're talking about. So, those first 3 maps, those were set. There was a chance to switch them. Neither of the teams did except for map 2, which was switched to Tourmaline. Now, however, we get into these ace maps. And as you see, there's 2 options there. So, Kale, do you want to explain how those 2 options work?
Would like nothing more. So this was something that I had thought about for a while when I was figuring out how we were going to do 4 ace matches. In order to make it both fair and competitive. So in order to give the team with a slight edge going into the ace matches a chance, but also the other team to have a chance to come back, or like a bonus. The first team gets a bonus for doing well early, and then the second team still gets a chance. The team in the lead, in this case Alexa, gets the opportunity to choose if you are revealing your ace player, because that's not predetermined, or your map first. And this will stay true for the next 3 maps. The other team gets to pick 2 maps as opposed to 1 map for the team that's in the lead.
Okay.
So for teams that love preparing more, they might want to have the map go first or the player go first, depending upon their team strategy and where they think their strengths are. So there's a lot of thought that they can put into it if they so desire.
Yeah.
What's kind of funny is prior to this point, Alexa, for their ace matches, has almost always just been like, we don't care, you guys can pick all of them, which is fine by me. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you heard that, but my Alexa went off.
Oh my
that scared the crap out of me. I can't commentate this team. I have to come up with like a different name, or else I might accidentally turn my lights off.
Sorry,
go ahead.
So essentially what it's going to be is Alexa 12 Pool in the lead here. They get to decide, hey, either we're going to reveal our player, and then you guys reveal which map you chose. The losing team here gets to choose the maps now. Or they can decide to have the map revealed first and then decide which player they want to have go into it. So, obviously, I think they're probably not going to be pretty nonplussed either way. They have a big roster of a bunch of great players. So, in general, that will favor them because they can just say, hey, you choose the map, and then we can choose the player that's most comfortable on this map. And we'll just have them go into it. Obviously, they will not know the matchup until after them when Michigan RTS here decides which ace player they'll throw out. But it should be, I think, pretty interesting to see how this ends up going and what the choices end up being. So, as you guys saw there in that map order, the first 2 map choices, my OBS, I gotta zoom into it so I can see which one to say.
Zoom in, enhance.
Enhance. Here, I'm gonna go back to it so you guys can see. There we are. So you can see first 2 maps there, Toledo or Old Republic, and then map 2, Incorporeal or White Rabbit. So those are the maps that Michigan RTS gets to choose from. And it's pretty much just Alexa 12 Pool deciding if they want to reveal what they want to reveal first. So right now, I believe we are waiting for...
9K right now is strategizing.
Yeah. It's fun to see. I mean, 9K as the captain here obviously is thinking about what he wants to do. As we mentioned with these rosters, just so people know what are available for this ace match, we can look at them right here. Michigan RTS, we've seen all of their players except for 2-5 who's been sitting there in the reserves. As for Alexa 12 Pool, they got a bunch. We've already seen Jay, we've seen 9K, we've seen Sigil, but they also have Jon Snow there, another Zerg player, as well as their 2 other players, Silver Chloride and Messi the Goat. So any of those players can be chosen here to go into this first Ace map, and obviously no one's gonna win here. Michigan RTS can go up a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see who ends up being thrown out into that. So I believe while our players are deciding, we're going to go to a very, very short break, just like 2 or 3 minutes here, while our players are figuring out what they want to do, which players they want to throw out in the maps, and we'll be right back here with the CEA Spring 2026 Corporate Finals. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the CEA Spring 2026 SC2 Corporate Finals here, sponsored by Amazon Luna. We have our first ace match ready to go, as the score currently is Alexa 12 Pool 2 versus Michigan RTS 1. We had a great Zerg versus Terran there between Sigil and Sparkle Hands. Ended up going the way of Sigil in a very tight game that was back and forth, but it means that we do have a very exciting now ace match, as it has been decided that maps will be revealed first, so the map picks will be revealed between the options the teams have, and then the teams will choose their players and reveal them into these matchups. So, Gadel, what's our situation here as we head into Game 4?
Yep, so we're going to be playing on Incorporeal, which was Alexa's choice for the map. What's really interesting about ace matches is you do not have to stick with the same race that you did before. I thought that maybe meant 9K was going to go with something else, but it looks like right now he did commit to the random. So there's a bit of a need for vengeance. The first proxy didn't work out. Now he's randoming. Let's see what else we got.
Yeah, and he's going to be going into Fish, so different Protoss player. If, you know, we might see him pull out some cheese again. We'll have to see what he ends up going for. I knowing him, he's going to be a little frustrated, I think, with how that first game went that he played. So not surprised that he...
He'll be frustrated too, yeah.
Yeah, he says, you know what? I want to run it back. I want to try again. Let me at him. And he's the coach, so he doesn't need to get permission.
Exactly. Yeah, looking forward to what's going to come out of the random grab bag. Because like I said earlier, it's typically you want to press your advantage in the first couple minutes before your opponent can adapt to whatever race you are. Oh, he got Terran again.
All
Jumping
right,
ahead, though.
as we are going to hop on into game. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a tight series here. It's not best 3, it's best 7. As in the top left-hand corner, we have pink and purple. In the pink, it is your Protoss player for University of Michigan RTS. He is Fish.
And in the, as you mentioned, complementary purple in the bottom right, we have 9K, who notably has not sent 3 workers across the map yet.
Oh, is he going to be playing a macro game? I can't believe
like
it.
A crazy person.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I think he'll probably still try and pull out some fun timing attack here. Knowing him, he likes to mix up the build orders, but is not going to repeat the cheats, which is, I mean, you know, makes sense in terms of how it went the first time. It's also maybe a little surprising. So you're looking at it and you're saying, well, Incorporeal is a very short map. You know, this is a map that's easy to get across, so it's actually lend itself very nicely to, you know, maybe some cheesier build or sending some workers across early, but it also still means that it's good for like a timing attack where you just get a bunch of units and it just hits a little bit faster than on other maps.
Yep. And there's always the option to do some sort of weird proxy battle cruisers, double proxy factory, which I think is hilarious and kind of bad, but so far pretty straightforward. We got double gas into Reaper, and then on Fish's side, I mean, textbook, 1 gate open.
Yep, absolutely. Looks like standard here from both players. We'll have to see. It's not going to be the double racks from 9K. Sometimes you still see players go for that, where you go for the early Widowmine drops into aggressive biopressure. It's not going to be the case. He's just going to be going for that factory immediately. Reactor out here, some Marines. It means that he'll be able to actually get up a pretty safe expansion after whatever his early game pressure is here. Yeah, I'm excited to see. I haven't seen 9K Terran in a macro game at all, and so I'm excited to see what he has, what he can bring to the plate here. I guess Fish, who had also kind of had a rough first game. He obviously opened up this series and had a game plan going in, and it just kind of got derailed, and he was never able to recover after that.
I'm looking forward to see what changes he makes. His first game was against a different race, so we would presume an entirely different build order, perhaps. While 9K does have the advantage of having already played a PvT today.
Yeah, it was a short one. It was like 5 minutes,
Yes.
but he got the experience, and that's what matters. As
Something about just seeing a probe from the other side is different, you know?
as actually, this is a very interesting opening. This is a so I'm confused because this is a TVT opening. To be fully honest, what I'm seeing right now is this is a TVT opening. Sometimes you do see players use it in Terran versus Protoss because you can satchel charge the Stalker out of the wall and then get in and do a lot of damage. But I do believe that was a probe that just saw what was going on, and so wall up comes through. That's
Oh,
that's
he
a
gets
little
it, though.
late. Reaper damage is pretty high. Should just go for the mineral line now. He has these Hellions in the base, trying to get through the focus fire. Not quite where he needs it to be, but great damage there now onto those collection of probes. 5 already going down is already pretty good. 6, even better. Force field means that the Reapers go down. It ends up being actually a pretty good trade because he got the kill on the shield battery, ends up getting 7 probes in total for just, those Reapers and Hellions. You're very happy about that as 9K.
I think the lack of the battery in the wall was big, and the fact that he didn't get the cancel off either. It's a bit of counter pressure coming back from Fish, but there's already a tank sieged up in the main, and I just don't think these 2 Stalkers are going to be enough to cut it.
Nope. Yeah, and usually what you see there from Protoss is that you actually leave the Stalker in the wall, put the shield battery behind it, because your Stalker can tank up that damage. You just want to make sure that while that shield battery is building, it is not able to get focused down like we saw there, where he pulls all of his units away. So just a little bit of a misstep there means that 9K is going to be very comfortable heading into this mid-game. He's even on workers, just down 2, is not at all bad for the Terran here, and is just going into tanks, stim, and combat shields with his 3 barracks. So he's going to have a very strong push here. Now, I am a little surprised we aren't seeing... I'm not wrong, right? Yeah. Not having the starport. You obviously don't need to get the starport if you're going for just an aggressive push here with stim and combat shields. Sometimes you do see players, though, like to go the engineering bay for that quick +1 as well, if you're going to be delaying that starport. But he has opted not into that, just is going for the 3 tanks, investing all of his money there, as now going to start to push across, and these Stalkers can pick away at a few Marines, but the tanks being in front obviously means that won't happen. As Fish here trying to set up a surround, but I really don't see a world where you actually want to fight this army head on, as that's going to be...
I think it's much better suited to just picking off Marines on the way back, but not getting it. He also just barely finished Blink, so if he had delayed that engagement by like 2 or 3 seconds, he could have saved a Stalker or 2 there.
Yep, although he did split up the army as now. 9K pushing forward here. The first tank is going to get focused down, but has 5 SCVs that aren't going to be able to heal it up. That first tank going down is rough, as now the bunker coming down, and in typical 9K fashion, it gets focused down immediately by Fish. But this time he brought more, as he's going to be trying to heal up this bunker. Tank's now pushing forward. Fish does have to be very, very careful here, as bunker's going down. That bunker, the stim forward! Fish walked
That was a good catch
out.
on those Stalkers.
Yeah, walked out of shield battery range, and now this bunker's going to go up. And I am very worried here for our Protoss player. He does not have Immortals. He's
got one coming out, but he's not chrono boosting it. He does have the energy, though.
And unfortunately, behind all this, he's got a 3rd Nexus, which is just going to be sitting there that he invested in, not expecting this push to be coming out, as bunker is up. Tanks are now coming across the map, and this is looking like a very dire situation here for Mr. Fish. Luckily, those medevacs aren't done yet. They're still being built, so these Marines, they don't get healed up. Every stim is going to hurt them more. If you can get rid of the Marines, then suddenly you can jump onto these tanks. But with the bunkers coming up, that's going to get a lot harder here for our Protoss player.
He does deny a bunker there, kills a couple workers, but right now, income is actually in 9K's favor, even losing a couple of these here. Some Stalkers try to pick off a tank in the back, do not do so successfully.
Yeah, but just these 2 tanks here doing such a good job. The Immortal's going to walk forward, but it is just going to get focused down. It does not have its shield up and ready. Finally, we'll get it now as the stim forward, but this Immortal needs to back up. No, it walks back into the tank fire. These Marines are getting low, but those medevacs are now coming across the map.
Be here any second.
There we go. 9K is going to turn on to the 3rd base. Wants to make sure he gets rid of that Nexus at the very least, even if this contain doesn't end up killing his opponent. Salvage on the bunker. And I think Fish is in a pretty rough spot here.
Yeah, I think that he got Blink, lost the Cybernetics core, and just didn't have the Stalker count to be able to poke in and fraud while he still had that advantage. He's moving over to Charge now and trying to add on more Immortals, but this will be a tough hold.
This is one of those games where you really wish you just had that charge right away to dive onto these Marines when they were pushing up. It still is only 2 tanks. The third tank is making its way across the map, and now with the Medivacs, that Immortal gets focused down. Guardian Shield goes down, but great focus fire onto the Sentry as 9K is just skimming forward. The Immortals are trying their best. But, I mean, into just this many Marines, it does not matter. The probes are pulled. Fish is going to tap out, and 9K is going to grab himself the 3rd win here for Alexa 12 pool.
The timing on that was just so unfortunate. The expansion right when military needed to be prioritized. Not that he had the chance to figure that out before it happened, but just very unfortunate timing for Fish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's another one of those games. That's kind of what happened in his first game as well, where it just was unfortunate timings on his tech and what he was doing that meant that he did not have the tools necessary when he needed them. A great push from 9K. As I said, I was expecting a little bit of aggression there. The timing attack coming through, very, very well done with the stim and the combat shields. And this time, we saw it. He built his bunkers further away. Round of applause there.
Yeah, he did. He did learn there. And something that I noticed, but we didn't have time to mention, is Fish also learned from the Artosis pylon.
He did.
He had the 3 or so shield batteries in the front, but he had pylons back. So. Yeah,
we saw both players making the necessary changes. Unfortunately, it was just unfortunate, but he did not have the tools that he needed. The 3rd Nexus there is really just kind of the backbreaker when you have such a fast timing attack.
I mean, that's 4 Zealots. Of course, that's not accounting for build time on the Warp Gate, but same resources.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where it's hard to necessarily see that your opponent is skipping their Stargate or their Starport just for more tanks. Like, I think he did have a hallucinated Phoenix, but I never actually quite saw if he managed to get that scout across the map. But the next map has been chosen, so once again, it is going to be Michigan University here. They have been elected to choose the map first, and they picked Old Republic LE, which is going to be a little bit of a bigger map than the last one we just saw. And we're going to get Xingming up against Jay, which is very interesting because now we have Xingming, who had the great hold against 9K in Game 2, and Jay, who just kind of dominated Game 1 against Fish, who we just saw there. So this should be a pretty exciting matchup.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited actually to see how Jay spices it up, because he's already played as EVP today, and Jay is screaming in the lobby chat, "Bring me the head of Xingming," and I'm looking forward to this. These guys are into it. But like I was saying, I'm interested to see if he tries what worked previously, or if moves for something a little different. I think it's kind of hard to make mutas work twice. Yeah. But it worked really well last game.
It did work. It was really good in the first game. It won him that game. We will have to see, as ladies and gentlemen, welcome now onto Old Republic. Currently up 3-1 on match point. It is Alexa 12 pool, and their blue Zerg in the top right. It is Jay.
And his opponent in the standard red, which is I think a first for this series, Xingming.
Now, we didn't get to see much of Xingming actually play because it was just that cheese game. So this is going to kind of be a little bit of new territory here of seeing what he can pull out. Obviously, this was the map that Michigan RTS chose. So they went into this. They said, hey, we're going to choose a map. Picked Old Republic, and Xingming says, hey, I feel confident that I can do well on this map here. So we'll have to see if he brings, as you've said, maybe a spicy build. Maybe he mixes it up, or he just feels that confident in his late game to try and pull it out. As, I mean, again, most of the Alexa 12 pool players are Zerg, not almost all of them. Like, I think 9K is the only one who isn't, as he's been playing random. So he just says, hey, most likely I get a Zerg player here. They just played 9K. I don't think I can play them again. And I feel confident in my PvZ.
Correct. Yeah, I think that this is the sort of map that lends itself to a number of interesting strategies, because your 4th base, you have a couple different options, and they're all bad.
Yeah.
I think it's a little more Protoss favored, but you really do just have to like slam down a whole bunch of shield batteries and cannons at that 4th base, regardless of where you end up taking it. So we might see some more mid-game aggression.
Yeah, like the one on the top, the left side of the map here, it's got such open angles to attack it from. It's pretty much essentially 3-pronged attacks are very easy to do against that as a Zerg. The front one is just super exposed, and then yeah, the one on all the way on the right side of the map is maybe the best sometimes, but you're spread so thin. It's a very awkward map for Protoss to go into a macro game and feel like really comfortable taking a 4th base.
Yeah, I think you have to establish some mid-game map presence if you want to feel safe, or just invest an insane amount into static defenses.
Yep. Stargate coming down for Xingming. We'll see if he ends up committing to
Tempests.
it more.
Calling it.
I think Tempests are really good. Like, because obviously if you expand just on the high ground, you got static defense, you get some Colossus, and you just play the defensive Protoss Death Ball. It could work. This is a great map for it. It's very hard to attack into the first 3 bases. So, you know, there could be some angle for some fun stuff here in terms of the tech choices for Xingming, as he's just going to get a full scout here. Sees that there's no shenanigans. He's also going to be pretty happy that he gets a little bit of mining time there, and actually is going to be able to potentially pick off a few Zerglings here, but Jay...
That's some excellent micro.
Yeah. He cares about his Zerglings. He's a good brood mother. He knows that
He does.
every Zergling counts. As we're going to get this first Oracle. Again, we'll see if it's 2 Oracle is usually pretty common, and then you get like a Phoenix to clear up Overlords. So we'll see if he ends up going for that. Is just going for the early 3rd base, and this is pretty much like the identical game that Jay played in game 1. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, seriously.
Like 2 Oracles is exactly what happened. The early 3rd base. This time though, actually, Jay does not, or Xingming does not invest enough into a second Adept there, so has to bring the Oracle back, which is very nice. Yeah, this is the exact same build.
Yeah, it's identical.
It would be really crazy.
I think.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think mutas are gonna be the move for him this game on Jay.
I mean, I was gonna say it would be crazy if we see Jay now throw down the Roachwarren when the layer's halfway done, and then build the Spire when it's completed. As oh my gosh, he gets the Oracle.
That was a good save on the drone too.
Yeah,
that was top tier micro.
That was very well done. I mean, this has been great so far by Jay. He has not lost any drones to any of this early harassment. And it's actually just being very annoying across on the other side of the map as well. These Adepts and Zealots doing their best. He's actually finding some nice little angles here. He will lose the Zealot eventually, and maybe the Adept.
Oh, he's losing the Adept. If he gets this Worker as well, that'd be crazy. No, he doesn't. I do like, actually, the fact that he's skipping the Roachwarren this game. Last game, he got the Roachwarren, he got Galil Reconstitution, and didn't build a single Roach, which I think it's a safety thing, right? It's not inherently bad, but just a little greedier this time, a little more confident in himself. I'm looking forward to seeing how it pans out for him.
Nidus Network is on the way, and I do not believe that this has been scouted here by Xingming. Yeah,
no,
has not seen the Nidus Network. Does manage to cancel the 4th base there, killing the drone. But Xingming is going for the same thing. He's going for +1 blink. Does not see this Nidus Network, and we'll see where that comes down. It's actually going to be in the main base. We'll see if he notices it in time here. Needs to either warp in these Stalkers or get a Void Ray on that, as he has to actually defend the front because there's a massive Zergling flood here. The Oracle's been brought back, but nothing.
He did wall
in
off
the
this
main
time,
base. As here we go, Queens are here. Jay
There's so many of them.
Oh my gosh.
He even brought drones. He's getting spines.
Spine crawler rush into the main base. I mean, oh my gosh, that's a massive Artosis pylon again. It's not going to get focused down just yet, which means the blink and
blink
+1
and +1 both finish. Yep.
So there is actually room here to fight this for Xingming. He does have a chance, as these queens have a lot of energy to play with, but these stalkers are finding right now a great angle. The queens actually are not firing away, and probes are being pulled away from the natural base as Zerglings are just flooding in towards that wall. Xingming has to commit everything here. The Artosis pylon goes down. That's 2 gateways that are now depowered, and the spine crawlers are now up. Xingming here has to micro this well, but there's no more Zerglings actually up here with the queens, so these stalkers might just be able to push it back. At the same time, he's only lost 7 workers because he pulled the probes from that natural, and Jay has not split off.
Back.
Oh, yep. Has to back up as more lings come on in. He's doing very good with this micro. Xingming is actually handling this for something that's completely unscouted, I think, about as well as he can. That's going to be another queen almost going down. They retreat back in and try and pop back out, but they're all low on health. That's going to be 2
low,
queens.
yep.
He's blinking back the low health stalkers, and he loses the natural base, but he still, again, has only lost 11 probes. He is up in the worker count.
True,
he cleans
but the
up
third
the spine
base,
crawlers.
Third base is under threat right now.
Yep, the Oracle is there as the shield battery does so well in healing up. And the Zealous hold Xingming. What a hold.
Okay, so he held. The state that we're in now is still a little, I think, precarious. He has to rebuild that second base. Jay has his 4th coming up. He's actually currently killing his own evolution chamber he accidentally put in his line. That's pretty funny. But he did not neglect his tech in the meantime. He got a Hydralisk Den. He's already getting upgrades for it. And so even though the worker count is in favor of Xingming, he's still being outmined just because he has to wait for that natural to be rebuilt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still baffled that he doesn't die there. That was a completely unscouted Nidus. But he manages to pull off the hold, and it's now at least
good
in
warping of that adept too.
Yeah, at least in a more solid place he has to rebuild. But I mean, I think the unsung hero there was him pulling the probes from the natural when Jay was committing so many lings to that. And so he ends up only losing, I think, in total there like 11 probes. And as you said though, Jay's still in a good spot. Hydra's on the way, has his upgrades now coming through, has not neglected that attack. Xingming still has that +1 though, and I think the fact that his +1 and his blink were able to finish, he's able to hold with that, and now has a pretty strong stalker force here.
Chance he takes this 4th.
I mean,
Stasis Ward going down behind.
Yeah,
so
there's
no wraparound potential from all the Zerglings elsewhere.
Yeah, other Zerglings are across the map. There's not enough at the front, though, just to hold, so Jay does have to retreat those in, but they might just run into this. Oh, there we go.
Oh, he only catches 1.
That's, so
okay,
close to
recall
being disastrous.
Instantly.
Great recall there from Xingming. Gets the 4th base, though. That's a huge pickoff. And
I think that brings him squarely back into this game. Worker count is still ahead for Xingming, albeit only barely. Right now, it's just going to be holding and securing a 4th base. If he can do that, then he's sitting pretty. Also, Templar Archives coming out.
I mean, what a performance it would be if he's able to win this. He has Michigan RTS's only win up to this point. And now he's playing a little bit out of his mind here against Jay. He is really pulling all of the stops. Another Nidus network is going to go down.
Exact same place.
I
don't think this one will be nearly as successful.
No, Jay's actually trying to commit to the front here. Xingming is just going to blink away, though. There's not really enough of an army here to fight this, but Zerglings do get on into the natural. The Nidus network is cleaned up by a warping of Zealots, as these lings actually are not able to get that much damage so far. Only 2 probes going down and now getting blocked off. And yeah, Jay tries to throw a punch there, and that was squarely turned away as Xingming only loses 2 probes.
I think that was very well held. Jay losing more than gaining in the attack.
Yep. Storm now on the way, and these High Templar will be very nice. It will be scouted out here. I'm surprised Charge has not been researched just yet. Xingming actually does have quite a bit of money here.
As you say it, he clicks that button.
See, I'm noticing. Look, all I'm gonna say is, these players, they should thank me. I'm putting it out there. I'm manifesting.
The universe is delivering it to them. I find it odd how committed Jay is to these attacks, because like we were discussing earlier, the fourth base is the hard one to take, not the first three. Like,
yeah.
We don't need to
coming
break
in
him here.
Though. Psionic Storm is still 8 seconds away. That storm finishes up. This looks a lot better. It's not blinking
no
away.
blinks away.
But the shield batteries are doing so much work. Psionic Storm is now completed as the storms are going to go down. Massive storms onto the Hydralisks. And Jay is trying to pull. He's trying to make these
really
attacks
trying to
work.
force this issue.
I don't know if he's going to be able to, though. The storms were good. The High Templar get focused down, but now there's Zealots here. And it just ends up being, I think, an even trade at best. But with these Hydralisks now going down to the aggressive link forward, Xingming is just answering every single attack extremely well.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. And Jay, while still having the supply lead in Army, albeit not by much, only 55 workers on 5 bases, which is not common for Zergs.
He's committed to so much aggression. It's just he hasn't had the larva to add on drones, and he's still building more units. Like, there's just... While Xingming is taking a 4th base, he's adding on more Hydralisks, he's adding on more Zerglings, he's saying, all right, 3rd time didn't work. It's okay. We go again. This time I'm going to be able to get it. But there are Psionic Storms now available. 4 more High Templar have been added on. They're going to be building up energy. These Zerglings...
Xingming's never leaving that gap to the natural open ever, too.
And there's cannons here, so those Banelings don't get any damage done. Jay does have a large army, though. 82 army supply here. And again, it's on 58 drones.
Droned up 3 more, which is... That is a change. But I still wish that we were on like 80 workers right now, and I feel like we could. Plus 3 attack, by the way, coming for Xingming.
Yeah. Xingming has been playing ultra defensive, and it's been working out because Jay has just been attacking into him. I feel like Jay might think that perhaps he did more damage than he did, or that he's in a worse position than he is, potentially.
That's gotta be the interpretation somewhere in the back of his head.
Yeah, I think that Jay is like worried that he might be further behind than he is, because right now he is committing so much to this aggression. And Xingming is very happy just to allow him to keep under that assumption, as he is building up. I said +3. Like, this Protoss army is going to deal so much damage into the +1 melee attack of Jay. Like, it's a pretty big difference.
While we had the Hydra go down during that big attack with the Nidus, we haven't seen any new tech since then for Jay. We don't see lurkers. We don't see Aspire like he added on previously. We don't... Like, this is it. This is the end game army right now. Bringing in Nidus Network in, I think this one's 100% meant as a distraction. I don't think he's going to commit anything to it. The army's just going to hit the 4th. But I don't know if it'll work.
Yeah, Charizards are just warped in. As here we go, the big attack is coming in, trying to roll on top. The Stalkers are not blinked back, but the Storms are pretty decent, as the probe pull immediately once again from Xingming means that he's not going to lose any probes just yet. And with the Banelings now gone, there's still a few of them, but Jay just has to back on up.
I think that was the correct move for Jay. We didn't need to commit to that. He stole some mining time away. But at the same time, like, Xingming did the exact same thing, the exact same base on the other side of the map. But he did it with 5 Zealots instead of, 100 army supply.
And that +3 is done. So this army now hits like a truck. These Archons...
Yeah, that's horrifying.
...are going to do so much damage. He's even getting shields because he says, hey, I got Archons. I should probably get the shield upgrade. That's actually going to do more. As here we go. Jay's trying to go in, but again, a little bit off-center. The Storms go down and actually get a ton of the Banelings ahead of time. The Stalkers are walking back. The High Templar are not focused down. More Banelings trying to roll on in, but the High Templar are once again pulled back and now morphed on into Archons. It is actually a decent trade up to this point as 7 probes go down. But with the Archons
he might get this base.
Yeah, looks like he'll finally break the Nexus. And I think that was a must. I think Jay had to find...
Kill that Archon. Kill it.
I think Xingming, a little misplay there. He actually had plenty of energy left on his High Templar when he morphed them into Archons, but still is able to hold and is now going to try and push across the map because I think he clicks on he clicks on Jay's units and says, "Dude, you got +1 melee. What are you doing?"
Yeah. Especially when the Hydras are the ones doing all the damage.
And I mean, now the Banelings are just rolling into +3 Archons, which is never what you want to see. As that 4th base is now going to be killed, and Xingming just backs on off, doesn't overcommit.
There's a great deal of creep on the way as well.
Yeah. This is looking scary now for Jay. I think he's only on 4 bases. He's finally up in workers, which is good, but he actually doesn't have enough mineral patches available to mine with all of them.
Exactly. It's like, imagine, I just want to imagine at every step of this game, what would have been different if we had added on like 10 drones
if you just press the
at
D
minute
key.
7. Yeah, like,
yeah, it's I think it is the case where I think Jay just thought that he was further behind, just a little bit further behind than he was.
ooh,
And so,
lost a bunch of Zerglings too.
yeah. And so he was like, "Oh, I got to keep trying to commit to the aggression and hope I catch him off guard." But he was in a decently fine position even after that Nidus. Sure, it was a lot committed, but he actually did get decent damage so the game was still
Oh, this Zealot run by is
there's the
very unfortunate.
He's just going to back it on up. I mean, Xingming does have a large army here on the right side of the map. Zerglings are going to make their way into the natural base, though, but Zealot's warped in there to deal with that, so they're not really going to find anything of value to try and kill.
There's no workers left, because why would there be?
Now, my only question for Xingming is, where is your late game tech? Because obviously his army is very strong. He's got Immortals, he's got Archons and Charge Lots. But I
feel that about both sides at this point. Like, we have no Lurker Den. We don't even have an Infestor pit, infestation pit, in order to get over to Hive.
Yeah. It's like a lack of tier 3 tech here. No Flea Beacon, there's no Coloss. I mean, I feel like Colossi would be such a big add in here for Xingming with the +3 already finished, but right now is just sticking on this army that he has and is gonna be posturing. Ooh, catches out a bunch of Banelings there. Is very, very nice.
Yeah.
But here
is he gonna sandwich the army though?
The storms,
great
though,
storm
coming
on
down.
both
oh
sides.
My gosh. Oh, and the High Templar don't go down to the Banelings just yet. Finally, a few of them fall. But great storms.
That was an extremely good engagement for him. Lost some of the less valuable units, but by definition, we don't care.
High Templar are still here. That's what matters. They still got energy building up. And he gets rid of a lot of Banelings again, which, you know, usually if you're a Zerg and you're on 80 workers and 7 hatcheries, then losing a few Banelings doesn't hurt. But when you're on 5 hatcheries, and then you're investing all these Banelings and they just keep really not getting the damage done, it feels really, really bad.
Ooh. Might catch a lot of these Banelings still morphing in.
Yep, I mean, CEA just going to run on forward here. That means they need to all be canceled, and that's really, it's just getting worse and worse here for Jay. As I'm surprised Xingming is not just moving forward, but I think he's pretty happy with his charge lots getting some damage, 7 drones going down, and just finding positive trades. He's got his 5th base up and operational now. The Lurker Den is finally on its way, but it feels like it might be a little too late.
Yeah, it is 20 minutes into the game, which it's like 7 minutes later than one would hope to get it, but I don't think either of these players are out just yet.
Yeah, I mean, we did just see about 15 Banelings roll into a single Archon and not kill it, as here we go. Now Xingming trying to go for the fight. The Archons just auto-attack down the Banelings, and these
decent
High Templar...
concave.
Yeah,
the storms were late, too.
But, I mean, yeah, there's still so much energy, though, on these High Templar. The concave was good, but it's just not enough. This base is going to go down. Jay knows that he needs to back up. Have to be careful here.
Good Baneling connections on the Zealots.
Yep. Oh my gosh, those
force fields are bad for them.
That was glorious from Xingming, as it ends up being, I mean, actually an even supply count, but that ends up being very, very bad for the Zerg player, who, again, is down 4 upgrades at this point, and now is down a base.
Being down a base is extraordinarily painful.
Yeah, as Immortals making their way in, and
Oh,
Jay
he
just
calls
taps out. Xingming, what? a game from this man.
He was just so consistent. Like that Nidus in my main would tilt me. Like, I would not be thinking through the rest of the game. I would be in panic mode the whole time, and he didn't let it happen. Like, just so even. And by the time he ended, he was a base ahead. Like, he had maintained his position on the map whenever he needed to. The Zealot run-bys were consistent, but not, like, wasteful. I think that was extremely well played by Xingming.
Yeah, and again, I just can't go back. Like, that was unscouted Nidus network. And he makes sure that he pulls his probes where he needs to. And he gets the +1 in the blink, which means that his stalkers are able to just eventually outtrade the Nidus and the queens. And I think the real reason why Jay might have been trying to be so aggressive is because he lost all those queens.
Yeah, which is fair. We talk about him caring about those individual units early with the Zerglings. Maybe it was just like some sort of a paternal or maternal thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I think losing those, because we saw that he had tried to retreat them and then pop them back out by accident, I think. And so he just ends up losing all of those queens. And I think from there, he feels that he is so far behind that he's just got to keep trying to find damage. And unfortunately, it just puts it further and further out of range. And it ends up being a great game from Xingming, and now we're 3-2. Like, this is still anyone's game.
Winnable.
Yeah. This is very, very exciting as we head onto now our second penultimate map here. It is going to be White Rabbit.
Yep, we're getting the players loaded in. We'll have the countdown, and they'll reveal them shortly. But I am still just blown away by the consistency of that last game.
Yeah,
it's hard to overstate how difficult it is. Especially, I mean, I know people watching this are most likely players of StarCraft themselves. But to keep that mental focus when you know that there are people watching you, that something big happened.
Or, I mean,
like,
even
that's impressive.
Yeah, even knowing that your team is down 3-1, it's match point. Like, oh, it's all on me. I was the one who chose to go out here.
That pressure is intense.
It is. Like, I mean, I know I felt that pressure when I got to, like, the finals of some tournaments, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, we're here. Oh, it is, like, very intense, as we have, I think, possibly one of the most cinematic possible results here for our second to last ace match, which is a rematch between Sigil and Sparkle Hands, which again was probably, I think, aside from that last game, the closest match we saw that TVZ. Yeah, and they're going at it again.
And I think a lot of that TVZ was dictated by the map that we were on. Like, the fact that Sigil was able to secure the bottom, and it was so hard for Sparkle Hands to push out and deal with those. We're on a different map this time. It's going to be White Rabbit, which is not bisected in the same way that map was. So I'm curious to see how that's going to change their decision-making behavior.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this, and I think, you know, that game was just so close. Like, we saw the incredibly intense trades, and it was on a map, as you said, very strange layout. So now we're getting this. This is a bit more standard. Also means that it's a little bit harder to, you know, expand, to those kind of outlying bases that are so far away. I'm excited for this. I think, you know, this is, I love when you get like these kind of situations where it's like, oh, we're heading into it, and, you know, it's 3-1. It was, you know, we had some close games here and there. You have this incredible performance by Xingming, and they're playing against different opponents, and now suddenly this rematch. And, you know, I think that series that they played, I think Sparkle Hands definitely would have wanted like a retry on that one, because it was such a close game, and there was situations where you're like, oh, the Terran is such a good spot, but he just wasn't quite able to edge it out. So I'm excited. As we have the players back, we are loaded on in. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a wonderful finals. This has already been incredibly good. You know, you always worry coming into these that it might be a sweep where they're just like, it's like, oh, they took an hour and a half and now we're done. And it's like, well, that could have been a letter. It is such a treat to get such fun games, I think, especially.
And especially because these people are coming together, like these are their coworkers they're playing with, or their, classmates. Like these are people that interact all the time. And that's something that you don't have the opportunity to get in a lot of StarCraft, which is a very 1v1 game typically, right? At least at the most competitive levels.
Yeah.
But this is like a group that they have been working together for a long time. And this is the culmination of a long and arduous path through the lower bracket for the Amazon team. And the Michigan team has had a couple weeks just to watch and refresh. Like the dynamics of how they're all interacting with each other, I think, is really interesting here and unique. And that's coming out in the quality of games we're getting.
Yeah. And on top of all that, it's all to give money to charity, which is just like
Yeah.
such a wonderful thing. Like it's a really wonderful situation that we find ourselves in. And ladies and gentlemen, we are in potentially the final match, potentially the second to last match. We'll have to see. It's all in the hands here of the Michigan RTS coach in the red, in the bottom left of White Rabbit. It's Sparklands.
And his opponent clad in, again, that glorious purple sigil, trying to close things out for Amazon.
Yeah. Again, I think Sparkle Hands, you got to be inspired by Xingming here. This guy's coming in. He's rocking the diamond border. He's picking up wins against two different players in solid fashion with incredible defensive play.
Gameplay.
Yeah. And so if you're the captain here, I think as Sparkle Hands, you got to feel it. You got to be like, yes, I need to live up to the level of play that my teammates are showing here. And I think, Sparkle Hands, I think from what we saw in his first game, I'm excited to see what he does here. I think that there was a lot of really great glimpses there of moments where you could see like things coming together. It was just like, it was a game of inches, really, between him and Sigil last time. And now I get the fun situation of it, potentially, right now, a set of 2. And if he wins this, getting to tie it up.
Yes, absolutely.
And obviously then, if you tie it up, then you go into the impending doom of potentially Jon Snow is actually available, and you're like, oh gosh, well, here we go. But that's for the future. We don't worry about that now.
No, you play the game in front of you. That stuff, that handles itself when the time comes. But getting into this map, I do think that the dynamics will be so different because of the different structure of the map itself. Not just because they've learned something when playing against each other previously, which of course they have. The Zerg has an opportunity, I think, to increase how efficient we're being, because we no longer have the option of just kind of eating half of the map and keeping that away from the front lines. So efficiency will be necessary. And then Sparkle Hands, at the same time, has the challenge of how do I split up the army in a way that was difficult for me to accomplish last time? Yeah. Because if he had managed to do that a couple times with a few drops, or make some impact on the economy, it would have been a whole different story. So I'm interested to see how we're adapting.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Fast third hatch. Sigil is gonna play the same. He feels very confident in the macro game. Was able to pull it out in their first meeting, and so is gonna be very happy to do the same thing here as third command center on the way for Sparklands. Both players, I think this is a situation
sticking to their guns.
Yeah, Sigil was like, hey, I won that last game, I'm gonna keep to what worked, and Sparkle Hands is like, I want to go again. So I'm gonna run back the same opening, and we're gonna get those Hellions coming on out. But this is leading, I think, up to a very, very fun mid game here to see where those changes are, how this map changes how they play it out. I think one thing that is very advantageous on White Rabbit is there is so much more space in the middle of the map. The last map they played on, it was very tight. You had a lot of low to high ground ramps. So it's a lot easier for the Zerg to kind of just like move in and attack if you are slightly out of position. This White Rabbit, you got a lot more open space. You have a lot of area to split. So I think Sparkle Hands, we saw that micro in game 1 between these two, and I think this is a map that even lends itself more to that.
I would agree. We've got the first batch of Hellions and Reaper moving across the map. The drones are pulled. The Queen spits out one spike, and everybody goes home.
Yep. She just throws a little knitting needle at him and says, "Get out of here! Go on!" And as we're going up to 5 queens, once again, Sigil, I think it's interesting that he likes to go for this lower queen count, because obviously, you know, when you look at the professional level, you see most professionals are just like, well, you know, you want to get up to 7 because then you don't have to build a ton of Zerglings for your defense. But I think Sigil here just like saying, I don't think I really need them for the defense, so I'm just going to stick to the 5. I'm going to be able to fend off whatever you throw with just this, and that's going to actually save me a lot of money for other things later in this game.
Already bringing down the rocks between his 3rd and soon-to-be 4th base. I think this is a good move. It's a much easier base to take than the wide one off to the right.
Yeah. And it's going to be Cloak Banshees once again into the bio follow-up. So we'll have to see if the Cloak Banshees get more value this time. That first game we did see, like the Banshees really struggled, I think, to find a place on the map, really doing too much. So we'll have to see if he makes more use, as this is actually enough Hellions to slowly out DPS this hatchery, but not quite enough to, to kill it. But can just put some pressure on here to make Sigil sweat just a little bit, and with only 1 queen, that queen will actually go down.
Is he not paying attention? Oh no.
Yeah, just a little bit of, oh my gosh, the 2nd queen actually might go down here. Sigil.
Oh, accidentally moved command out off
get
creep.
it.
That's
oh my gosh, yeah, that is.
And that's especially painful after the changes to queen cost.
Yeah, they're a little
those are
more
not
expensive.
cheap units.
And that was going to be his going up to 7 queens. He now has to replenish that now that he's going up to 4 bases. That is, yeah, a very, very brutal loss, especially now with these Banshees that are on the map. Sparkle Hands is keeping them back defensively for now, but is going to be very happy with these early trades. The fact that you're going to slow down the creep spread now, and you're going to slow down the eject rates here, as the 5th base is coming up for Sigil. And he's just gearing up here for a very strong mid-game. Stim on the way. Does he have? Yeah, okay. Does have his 2 engineering bases and just starts up the +1/+1.
Mm-hmm.
Once again,
yeah,
my latent senses of when I used to play are like tingling whenever I see something just a little bit off.
Oh yeah. For possibly the first time this series, we do have the Zerg going to be ahead on upgrades. Those haven't finished quite yet, but for the most part, Amazon as a whole has struggled to keep up with the upgrades of their opponents, but it's not the case now.
Good pullback on those drones from the hatchery, as these queens will just guide the Banshees out of the base. But yeah, it is kind of surprising, because obviously usually Zerg is the one that's able to afford getting those upgrades up, and that upgrade parity is really where we see a lot of the big differences. Like, if a Zerg's behind, that's a pretty big deal, and we saw it actually in the first game between these two. Unfortunately, Sparkle Hands, I don't think really realized that he had such a big window, and so he never really took advantage of the fact that he had that upgrade advantage in their first match. Now, though, it is going to be a bit more standard. He's actually going to be behind, going for all 3 of his upgrades, has his 3rd base fully up and operational, and we're going to have to see what he decides to do. He's not going to be looking for that early push like last time with his Hellbats. As I said, there we go. He's actually going to be pulling everything together and moving across the map. But it's putting up sensor towers, and it's now going to be trying to poke. And, I mean, this 5th base here for Zerg, while it is easier to get to, is also a little more exposed as this push comes across the map.
Yep. And right now the army supply is pretty heavily in favor of Sparkle Hands.
Yep, and this time
very difficult engagement to take, but he'll try.
Ooh. Yeah, Sigil just going in. The tanks were already sieged up, but none of the tanks actually go down just yet. Ooh. Finally, one's going to fall.
Managed to snipe one.
More banelings need to be bought up, but this should actually be some drones falling. Sparkle Hands is going to force Sigil to engage once more before the banelings are ready. He's going to have to pick up. Doesn't actually get any of the Marines out of there. Great cleanup by Sigil. And doesn't actually even lose any drones for that. That was a great hold.
I am shocked at how efficient that fight was. The unit count was pretty similar, but I had assumed with those 5 Hellbats at the front, we just wouldn't have any issues clearing up the primarily Zergling army of Sigil, but that was not the case. Just absolutely ran him right through.
Yeah, Sparklands, I don't think can push up too far. He's going to clear up the creep at least, but I think that's about all he can do. He's going to need to split back. Oh, these Banelings are getting massive hits. I think that's kind of been the big story. Is these Banelings are actually doing a ton of work here for Sigil. That's where we saw, I think, a lot of his struggles in their first match, actually, when his Baneling nest did get sniped. Double expansions might be... Triple expansions! Oh my gosh, might be a little
He just has so many minerals, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
That's the benefit of having more than 50 workers, baby.
Yeah, as there's still 2 more bases, obviously, that he's going to be able to keep up here.
He's just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. When you have 3k in the bank at 9 minutes, it's like a...
Yeah, 3k and +2/+2 now done. Sigil is going to be very happy with the position he's in. These few Marines pushing up, trying to get the Queen. They're not going to be able to. Baneling's now crashing in, but pulls back. And
these tanks are in a really good spot.
Actually going to be able to find some success here, being ahead in those upgrades, doing a lot of work, and there's nothing to play defense here. Banshees did go down in that earlier engage, so nice harassment. Is only going to get 2 SCVs for his trouble, but gonna be pretty happy with that. And now Liberators are here. I am worried about Sparkle Hands, though. He's actually down in army supply here, down in upgrades. It's a very risky position to be this far up. He does not.
There's
have
already Zerglings positioned for a wraparound, and they're getting it. There's some Marines there to defend the tanks, though.
Yeah, but unfortunately the front has just fallen apart here. Sparkle Hands has not been able to hold this, and now trying to pull back into the tanks, but as good as the shots are from the tanks, it's just too big of too large of a Zerg army. And again, Sparkle Hands, this time he's been committing much more to this 3-base pressure. Does not have a 4th command center done.
We've got Ultras on the other side of the map coming out, and Adrenal Glands is finishing fairly soon, as well as +3/+3. This is looking really strong for Sigil.
Yeah, I mean, this is starting to look like one of those situations where, as Terran, you throw some drops around the map, do some double, triple prong pressure, and you turtle up. You pull a Maru, you put down 2 more factories, and you hope and pray that you're able to weather the storm as you try and expand out. Yeah, I don't...
Oh, he is getting a little confident, moving out into the center of the map.
Yeah, I just don't see a world where he can take this fight. It's not a lot of Banelings with the current army, but there come the rest of them. He needs to split this well, and at least he's on top of it enough that Sigil doesn't commit to that fight. But
he's playing it safe.
Yeah. The creep spread is starting to get a little bit out of control, though.
Well, Ultralisks as well.
Oh, here we go.
See if they're enough to make the difference. Yeah. Baneling's coming up the ramp.
Oh, Sparkle Hands is in a terrible spot here. He's probably, I mean, just pick up into the medevacs. Oh, he doesn't pick up into the medevacs. As the Banelings roll on through, the Liberator falls down, and Sparkle Hands.
That's very likely it. That was very quick. We had some games previously where we would see it slowly just chip away towards the end, but this was just...
Yep.
He got shot in the face.
It was gearing up, I think, to be very close. Unfortunately, I think he just committed too hard to the aggression off 3 base there. That is going to be Alexa 12 Pool taking the win 4-2. What a series, though. That was very, very fun.
Yeah, that was fun to watch. And it was very clear that Sparkle Hands had made a couple of changes, but I think Sigil made more. Sigil had previously been taking a lot of fights that kind of just did not go his way, but especially that second to last fight where we had a detachment of Zerglings sitting off to the northwest corner of the map, just wrapping right around. There was so little that Sparkle Hands could do when he's just getting hammer and anviled like that. Yeah. And then with the loss of those tanks and the immediate adding on of a couple Ultralisks, without that same Marauder count that we had in the previous game between those two. It was just too much.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well played. Sigil finishes his best of 3 2-0 against Sparkle Hands, gets the win for Alexa 12 Pool, who again had already secured the first place prize. So they already had that $480 that are going to give well, but now they also get the bragging rights over everyone except for Xingming. I think Xingming
yeah,
he gets to keep his bragging rights there and saying, "Hey guys, I did good. I held up my side."
Oh yeah, his team's gonna be giving him a pat in the back, and this is not the end either. Like, we have another season coming. Maybe Xingming figured out something that he can share with the rest of his team.
Yeah.
You never know. They'll come back next time with a vengeance.
Yeah. And with that, also, I think it's good to mention that second and third place also was actually already decided before this series happened, just because the third place team was also a collegiate team. So that means that the second place prize ends up going to Dark Temple Sars and Tempest. They get $240 going over to the American Cancer Society, and the third place prize to Virtual Private Carriers for IBM, getting $80 going to the Trevor Project. So again, at the end, this is just a bunch of coworkers and classmates playing for charity, and it is very fun. It's just, we're having fun, we're having a good time, and we're doing, we're playing games for a good cause. Like, nothing better you can do. Also, to mention, there were other streams going on at the same time. Some of those already wrapped up before us. The Overwatch match, Capital One ended up taking away the first prize. In Counter-Strike 2, Garmin got first place. And the League of Legends match, their Game 5 is going on right now with Amazon versus Capital One. So go check that out.
That one's going to be intense.
Yeah, that is, I'm glad they got a Game 5 because that's going to be super fun. And then there are also more matchups happening next weekend on Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We have the Rocket League finals with Microsoft versus General Motors, as well as Marvel Rivals with Google versus Epic Systems. And then on the 31st of May, don't have the time just yet, but the Valorant has their whole time slot just to themselves. And that's going to be Google versus Epic Systems. That's $7,000 for charity. Still up for grabs among those final 3 alone.
Yeah, those will all be really fun. You can find all the details here at our YouTube, and I always recommend this, joining our Discord. That's where all the good stuff happens. If there's anyone watching who has yet to play themselves in CEA, recruit a couple of your teammates. Find a few coworkers that want to have a good time. You don't have to be good. I'm here and I'm not. It's a good time no matter what you do, and people benefit from this because it is all for charity.
Absolutely.
So please come join us. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, it would be great. With that, we are going to wrap up here. Once again, congratulations to Alexa 12 Pool for getting the 4-2 victory, for getting that first place. But that's going to do it for us. So thank you all so much for watching. It has been an absolute pleasure to be here, to be covering this once again. Thank you, Cato, for joining me on such short notice. This was all actually put together on pretty short notice, but it worked out wonderfully. So with that being said, go over to League of Legends. Go check them out. We're going to be ending the stream here, and we'll be back next week with more matches here at CEA. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll catch you later.